The Supreme Court recently declined to hear challenges to two major state gun control laws, a decision that has sent ripples through the legal and political landscape of the country. By refusing to intervene, the court left in place lower court rulings that upheld strict restrictions on certain firearms and high-capacity magazines, effectively allowing these laws to stand for now. This move, decided by a 6-3 margin, signals a Supreme Court still grappling with the far-reaching consequences of its own 2022 Second Amendment decision. The justices appear hesitant to wade back into the contentious gun debate so soon, perhaps wary of further polarizing an already divided nation. For gun control advocates, the court's inaction is a temporary but significant victory. It allows states like Maryland and Rhode Island to continue enforcing laws designed to prevent mass shootings and reduce gun violence, at least for the time being. These advocates see the decision as a crucial step in protecting communities and saving lives. On the other hand, gun rights supporters view the court's refusal as a missed opportunity to defend what they see as fundamental constitutional rights. Many gun owners now find themselves in a state of uncertainty, unsure how the patchwork of state laws will affect their ability to legally own and carry firearms. The result is a complex and uneven landscape, where the rights and restrictions surrounding gun ownership can change dramatically from one state to another. This patchwork of regulations means that American Second Amendment rights are now largely determined by where they live. By not taking up these pivotal cases, the Supreme Court has effectively delegated the power to define the boundaries of the Second Amendment to lower courts and state legislatures, creating a new era of legal uncertainty and debate. This inaction has only intensified the legal battles at the state level, fueling passionate arguments and protests on both sides. The gun debate remains unresolved, more contentious than ever, and continues to divide communities and lawmakers alike. The court's silence is not an end, but rather the beginning of a new chapter in America's ongoing struggle over gun rights and regulation. The nation now waits to see how these issues will evolve in the courts and legislatures below. For now, the future of gun laws rests in the hands of state governments and lower courts, while the Supreme Court observes from the sidelines, its next move uncertain. The Supreme Court's recent move centers on strict gun laws from Maryland and Rhode Island. Maryland's Firearms Safety Act bans popular semi-automatic rifles like the AR-15, arguing they're too dangerous for civilian use, a stance upheld by the Fourth Circuit. Rhode Island's law, passed after the Uvalde shooting, bans magazines holding more than 10 rounds, with the First Circuit finding it consistent with public safety traditions. The Supreme Court's refusal to intervene means these bans remain in effect, frustrating gun rights groups who hoped for a national ruling. Now, legality depends on state borders. What's legal in one state could be a felony in another. This patchwork highlights the ongoing tension between national rights and state power. With no clear answer from the Supreme Court, the front lines of the gun debate remain at the state level. The Supreme Court's decision exposed deep divisions among the justices. Justice Clarence Thomas, joined by Alito and Gorsuch, issued a sharp dissent, arguing the court was ignoring its duty to enforce Second Amendment protections for common firearms like the AR-15. He warned that allowing these bans creates legal chaos and undermines the court's own precedents. Justice Kavanaugh, though voting with the majority, signaled unease, calling the lower court's reasoning questionable, and hinting the Supreme Court may revisit the issue soon. These statements serve as both a warning to lower courts and a promise to gun rights advocates. The fight isn't over. The justices' split suggests the Supreme Court will eventually have to confront the constitutionality of assault weapon bans head-on. While the U.S. Supreme Court hesitated to take up new gun cases, Oregon's own High Court is now at the center of a pivotal legal battle. Measure 114, a sweeping gun control law passed by Oregon voters in 2022, remains in limbo after being blocked by a series of legal challenges. The law's fate is now in the hands of the Oregon Supreme Court, and the outcome could have far-reaching consequences for gun policy across the state and beyond. Measure 114 would ban the sale and possession of magazines holding more than 10 rounds and require anyone buying a firearm to first obtain a permit. This permit process would include mandatory safety training, fingerprinting, and a completed background check, aiming to ensure that only responsible individuals can purchase guns. A state judge initially blocked the law, citing Oregon's constitutional right to bear arms as a key reason. However, the appeals court later reversed that decision, arguing that the law could stand, and sent the case to the state Supreme Court for a final ruling. The outcome of this case could set a powerful precedent for other states considering similar permit-to-purchase systems and magazine restrictions, influencing lawmakers and courts nationwide. If Measure 114 is upheld, it could inspire a wave of stricter gun laws in states across the country. But if it's struck down, it would be seen as a major victory for gun rights advocates, reinforcing the strength of state constitutional protections. This case highlights how state constitutions and courts play a crucial, sometimes overlooked role in shaping gun policy, often independently of federal law or the U.S. Supreme Court's decisions. Oregon's legal battle demonstrates that the fight over gun regulation is being waged on both federal and state fronts, creating a complex and often unpredictable legal landscape for citizens and lawmakers alike. The decision from Oregon's highest court will have ripple effects far beyond the state's borders, potentially shaping the national conversation on gun rights and regulation for years to come. Ultimately, the future of gun control in America may depend as much on the decisions of state courts as on the rulings of the U.S. Supreme Court, making cases like Oregon's Measure 114 especially significant. At the heart of these legal battles is a core conflict: public safety versus individual gun rights. Supporters of stricter laws argue that regulating dangerous weapons and high-capacity magazines is essential to prevent mass shootings and save lives. They point to tragedies like Las Vegas and Sandy Hook as evidence for tighter controls. Opponents counter that these laws strip law-abiding citizens of effective self-defense tools, arguing that criminals won't follow such restrictions. They see bans and permit requirements as unconstitutional burdens that leave people vulnerable. Both sides claim the Constitution is on their side, fueling a debate that shows no sign of resolution. The tension between safety and rights remains the central challenge in America's gun debate. The 20,000 ban matsi disinponson mankwan sowen on Bodhi-22 Supreme Court decision in Bruin changed how gun laws are judged, requiring that modern regulations align with the nation's historical firearm traditions. Courts must now find historical analogs for today's laws, leading to confusion and conflicting rulings nationwide. In Maryland, the Fourth Circuit upheld the assault weapon ban by arguing AR-15s are military-style and not protected, or alternatively, that there's a tradition of banning dangerous weapons. Rhode Island's magazine ban was upheld as consistent with public safety history, but gun rights advocates argue there's no historical precedent for such restrictions. The Bruin test has left lower courts struggling, with critics saying it reintroduces subjective balancing under a new name. Many expected the Supreme Court to clarify the standard, but its refusal has left the legal landscape muddled. The result: a patchwork of laws and ongoing uncertainty about the true scope of the Second Amendment. The AR-15 is the most popular rifle in America, accounting for about 20% of new firearm sales and owned by millions. Supporters call it a versatile, reliable tool for sport and self-defense. Critics point to its use in mass shootings and its military-style features. High-capacity magazines, often holding 15, 17, or 30 rounds, come standard with many modern firearms. Gun control advocates argue that limiting magazines to 10 rounds can save lives by forcing shooters to reload, while opponents say such limits handicap self-defense. The Maryland and Rhode Island laws target these very features, sparking fierce debate. For gun rights supporters, banning standard capacity magazines and rifles is seen as a direct attack on lawful self-defense. For gun control advocates, it's a necessary step to reduce mass shooting casualties. The numbers behind these weapons fuel both sides of the argument and the ongoing legal fight. The Supreme Court's inaction has left the nation's gun laws more fragmented than ever, creating a sense of uncertainty that stretches from coast to coast. With no clear national direction, states are left to chart their own courses, resulting in a patchwork of regulations that can change dramatically at state lines. Legal battles will continue in lower courts and state supreme courts, with conflicting rulings deepening the divide. Judges across the country are interpreting the Constitution in different ways, leading to a legal landscape where the outcome of a case can depend heavily on geography. Both sides are now mobilizing. Gun control advocates push for new state laws, while gun rights groups prepare more lawsuits, hoping for a circuit split that forces Supreme Court action. Grassroots movements are gaining momentum, and the stakes are rising as each side seeks to shape the future of gun policy. The fundamental questions, can states ban the most popular rifle or limit magazine capacity, remain unanswered at the national level. These unresolved issues leave gun owners, law enforcement, and lawmakers in a state of limbo, unsure of what the future may hold. The court's silence has energized activists and lawmakers on both sides, making gun regulation a top issue in upcoming elections. Politicians are seizing the moment, using gun policy as a rallying cry to mobilize their bases and influence public opinion. The future of gun laws will be shaped by dozens of state and federal battles, not a single Supreme Court decision. Each new case and legislative session adds another layer to the complex and evolving legal landscape. As of now, America's gun policy is a patchwork, with rights and restrictions changing from state to state. Travelers and residents alike must navigate a maze of differing laws, often with little guidance or clarity. The debate is far from over, and the next chapter will be written in courtrooms and legislatures across the country. As the legal and political battles continue, the nation watches and waits for clarity that may still be years away.